In today's Unconstrained Conversation, I'm talking to Patrick Wimble, co-founder of Lightbulb Consulting.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Before starting Lightbulb last year, Patrick was working for IHG, leading commercial teams in Asia, Middle East and Africa. As South African by birth, Patrick has reinvented what revenue management should be many times to adapt it to its current realities in the industry.
What?
No.
How? What? What am I? Oh, great. What am I supposed to do with that?
He's passionate, creative, innovative and always fun to talk to. Patrick and I recently met up to talk about why the hotel industry has failed to embrace total revenue management and what hotels should do about it.
Everyone talks about total revenue management
Right.
as this thing, and it's been a thing for many years.
Yeah.
But no one really goes, okay, so the way you deliver it is like this. And
Right.
actually, you can have systems and so on to deliver it, but actually, in order to deliver it effectively at hotels, you need people to do it.
For a long time, the industry has been advocating this notion of total revenue management, where revenue managers focus on all revenue streams, not just rooms revenue, to optimize a hotel's performance. Patrick argues that one of the key barriers to making revenue management work is that we have not spent enough time focusing on the people which we want to make it happen.
And you can say, right, you are now responsible for revenue management.
Yeah.
Total revenue management. Most revenue managers go, that's brilliant. And then the next thing they go is, oh my God, what do I do with it now?
Yeah. From Patrick's experience, two things need to be in place. One, accountability, and two, the right tools.
And you can make a general manager go, you're right, this revenue manager is now responsible for total revenue management in our hotel. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I would think we would struggle to find any revenue manager who is open to challenging a chef on their menu pricing for a particular restaurant in their hotel. I think
Especially in Europe, the chefs.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think chefs anywhere, actually, having worked in Asia, I think there's a couple of pretty, they would just go no and not talk to you, you know. Yeah, but even if it's not the chef, it's the food and beverage manager. And, and from a food and beverage perspective, they're going, my job is to manage that operation really effectively.
Yeah.
The revenue management side of that doesn't necessarily come into it. It's more around how many waiters can I throw at that particular piece to make sure that their service is great. Whereas with us, from a revenue management perspective, wouldn't you want someone who's got that kind of analytical focus, who's got a bit more of a drive around trying to make more money, looking at, you know what, if you do price that in a different way, actually you've got a real opportunity to make more money from that particular restaurant or that particular dish.
Yeah. The point Patrick is making is too many revenue managers do not feel comfortable to challenge other department heads to drive performance. The second question is if they're using the right tool.
You make the accountability piece one thing, then you've got to give them the tools to be able to do it. So, you know, there are tools out there.
Yeah.
How many of them actually are brought together in a total revenue management piece?
Yeah.
I'm not sure they are. They're very dramatic.
I argued with Patrick that in addition to the 2 points he outlined, there are a number of other hurdles. Having common objectives, data silos, being stuck in the room's revenue comfort zone, and lack of interaction, amongst others. I asked Patrick if he has seen any examples of a company that has brought total revenue management to life.
I haven't seen anything where I think that total revenue management is done well. Where I do see it is little pockets of excellence. So you have certain companies that are really good at that managing the room side, and they use all the systems that are available to them. They really start maximizing on the profitability piece. They're looking at that optimal channel mix, or starting to look at the optimal channel mix. And then you've got other companies that might work really well on the food and beverage side. Casinos are a good example of that. When it's one ownership company, the food and beverage is almost as important, if not more important, than the room side. And those guys are probably doing that revenue management quite well. But does it link with the food and beverage, and the rooms? I'm not sure.
Patrick brought up a great point. You might be doing well in one department or in one particular area, but what will enable you to be successful is to cross over departmental boundaries. We both had some great examples to share.
A couple of years ago, there was a new restaurant in this hotel, in this hotel that we had in the Middle East, and they went, you know what? there's not that accountability for it. It's a case of, well, I've got to get my waitering staff in there and I've got to get it done and I've got to make sure that it looks good. I said, okay, do you know what your break-even is? Just a simple thing. Do you know what your break-even amount is? So when you hit this amount, you've covered your costs for the day. Outlet manager had no idea.
Yeah.
So they created that. They said, okay, your break-even point is X thousand, right? And just that simple knowledge, that simple.
You have to get at least that much revenue before you make any money, right?
And he would come up to the.
Just like an entrepreneur would think about that.
Exactly,
first thing, right?
exactly right. You know, that outlet manager came up to the F&B manager while I was sitting with them and going, "Guess what? We've just broken even.
Right.
It's 11:30." And you're like, "What a great conversation, isn't it?" Because you're just going, "Why wouldn't you do that?"
Why wouldn't you do that? What a simple question. Why wouldn't every outlet manager know what the break-even point is? Why wouldn't you sit down with the F&B department and help re-engineer your menus with the help of your analytics brain? There is a case for everyone in a hotel to think the same way entrepreneurs think about their business. Where are the opportunities? What are the costs? And how can I grow my business profitable? So how will we get there? Have the conversation, right? And start talking about profitability and start talking about your menu items.
Yeah, I mean, it's hugely powerful, and I think the challenge with when we try and roll out, your question right in the beginning was why hasn't it not happened? Why has total revenue management not happened? And I think maybe that's the part, because as revenue leaders, we tend to be very focused on getting the data, and well, that's obvious. Well, not to the guy who actually doesn't care, who's really just about guest service. And actually, if you want to keep them focused on guest service, then that's perfect, because that's a great use of your time. But actually getting someone who's responsible for, I can help you make more money at the same time and keep that guest service going, why wouldn't they join it? But I don't think there's that joining up of that analytical expertise, that sort of all those traditional things we think of a revenue manager, but actually...
Listening to Patrick, I felt what is needed to make total revenue management happening is a new attitude of revenue management. More like an entrepreneurial asset manager who looks at all aspects of the business similar to what an owner would do, and also understands what levers are available for him or her. What can I do with the square footage? How do I optimize it? How to make the most profit out of that particular asset, which in that case is a restaurant or different outlets, right? And kind of you have the asset manager mentality on one side, you have the operational mentality on the other side, and you bring the two together. It's kind of as a team, right? So teaming up the focus on operational excellence and guest satisfaction with an asset optimization focused revenue manager will bring the different perspectives to the table and create the right balance between both guest service, staff engagement, and revenue.
Because you want someone to challenge, you know, you want a revenue. If you might have your revenue manager goes, we should do this, and the food and beverage manager goes, you're mad. That's going to tank our guest satisfaction. That's the right conversation to have, because you don't want to just have something that's nickel and diming. It's a good. It's a good conversation, but you need that check and balance. You don't want suddenly the revenue manager is all powerful. You want those kind of conversations, those really good
team effort, right?
Conversations.
So the first thing to do is sit down and have a conversation, right?
Absolutely.
An unconstrained conversation.
An unconstrained conversation at home. At your hotel, what is it about this asset that we could do to make more money? And then kind of choosing which ones are the ones which you think are going to work the best, and then going with them. You know, and
trial and error.
Yeah,
right? Absolutely.
I think hotels, we get so bogged down and busy in the stuff that we've always done. To look at that from a new perspective, it could be a little bit challenging, you know.
Wrapping up, I knew that Patrick would have some great insights about the intricacies of how to bring total revenue management to life. Cooperation and communication seem to be the right way to start unconstraining your approach to revenue management.